Hey everybody, Taylor Lyles with the Greenville Home Builders Association, and this is the Think Big podcast. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Think Big podcast. We have a super special guest today, Kerri Paulino. Remember, Think Big is building industry growth, and we're just trying to encourage and enhance what's going on in our market and how other people in the industry run their business, work with trades, etc. Kerri, thank you for being on the podcast. We're super excited to have you here.
Thanks for having me.
I'll let you kind of introduce yourself to the group.
Okay, so I am Kerri Paulino. I am the division president of Meritage Homes here in Greenville, South Carolina. I have been in the home building industry, Taylor, it is my 21st year, which makes me feel really, really old. I started in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, which is where I grew up. I actually interned with Ryan Homes prior to graduating from undergrad. And then have moved several times from the Pittsburgh market to the Washington, D.C. area for quite a long time. And then I joined Meritage Homes 3 years ago in our Houston division, and then was very fortunate to be moved up here to Greenville last year. So I spent most of my career with NVR, which is the parent company that owns Ryan Homes. I was in multiple different divisions with them. I did do a short stint with a regional builder in the Washington, D.C. area before I joined the Meritage team. So been in a whole lot of different home building environments throughout these 21 years.
So you know the ins and outs of multiple organizations, from the ultra corporate to the smaller production to the conglomeration that Meritage is, which is incredible.
Yeah.
So what got you from D.C. to Houston?
Yeah, that's a really, really great question. So I was at a point in my career, so I had come up through the sales side of the business, and I actually had returned to school. I had been selling for, let's call it like 6 years or so, and we were unfortunately in the downturn. And so I decided, you know what, this is a really good time for me to go back to school. So I took a year and a half off and I went and got my MBA. And then I re-entered the market back at Ryan Homes in a sales management position. And I had worked my way up from there, expanding my role beyond sales into first other customer-facing functions, and then finance, construction, warranty, all of the different fields. But I was really and I was with a wonderful firm at the time called Bozzuto Homes. They are a regional builder, but mostly they are an apartment developer and management company that's out of Maryland. And I hit this point where I loved them. I loved the company. They're the most wonderful people. I loved their culture. I loved everything about them. But the home building operation was just not something that they wanted to grow significantly. And so I was at a point in my career where I really wanted to get to the next level and to continue to progress forward. And so Meritage had actually reached out to me on LinkedIn. And we started this process for a position called a division vice president. And what that is sort of like your MBA, let's call it, within the Meritage world, to be ready to become a division president. And so we took this huge leap of faith, moving from the East Coast, where I've always lived, and decided to move to Houston, Texas, and join the Meritage team in this division vice president role. And essentially, you're a senior leader in the division, but you're sort of rotating over different functions to ensure that you have a really good kind of intimate understanding in how Meritage works within those functions. So whenever an opportunity does become available for a division president, you are well positioned to be considered.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So, and then fast forward to beginning of last year.
Yeah.
Got the call.
Yes.
I guess we could say got the call to the big league.
Yes.
And
yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
And it's been a whirlwind.
It has been an absolute whirlwind. I was very fortunate because Omar Rodriguez, who was the division president here in Greenville before me, he got promoted to be an area president over all of South Carolina. And so it was really the most ideal situation a new division president could be in, because you have the support of the person who was just doing this, literally still in market because he still lives here in Greenville. So it was wonderful. It just couldn't have been a smoother transition. The team here is absolutely fabulous. It is definitely drinking from a fire hose and still is, even all of these months later, but it was as smooth of a transition as it could possibly be.
Fantastic. And Omar was a big friend of the HBA,
Absolutely.
so we know
big
him very
supporter,
well.
yes, very much.
Omar, big land guy.
Big land
Set
guy.
y'all up pretty good.
He did a great job.
Good. That's what we like to hear. So kind of tagging off of the Houston market to the Greenville market, you know, both of them are thriving markets.
Yes.
Both of them have low taxes. Both of them have incredible job growths. Both of them have kind of this mindset that they want new construction in the market.
Yeah.
But then you still have your NIMBYs that we don't want that.
Yep.
What do you see are the same? What do you see are different from your experience?
Yeah, that's a really great question. So I think you hit on some of the things that are similar in that both geographies, I would say, or both markets are very much pro-growth, pro-development overall, right? And I think that they have both seen a ton of growth for the reasons that you mentioned. Both of them are still pretty affordable markets, which is becoming more and more rare.
Yeah, very much.
Unfortunately for all of us, more and more rare with low taxes. And so I think those are a lot of the reasons that people are moving from other areas into these markets. There are a lot of differences, however. I think just the sheer size of the Houston market, the span of it, the geography of it, creates a very different feeling than what you have here in Greenville. So, you know, if we would look at the Meritage market in Houston, from tip to tip of the different submarkets where we operated, I mean, you're easily a 2.5-hour drive. Probably not even with the worst traffic. So you just have this big geographic expanse, and that means a lot of different things. That means that you need, you know, your trade base. You may have multiple trade bases throughout, you know, your market in a bigger area, in a bigger location. You need multiple kind of pockets of salespeople that can operate, you know, sort of in somewhat close proximity to where they live. You have typically have a centralized office location, but people don't necessarily, they can't always get there efficiently. So you have a lot more work from home or remote work situations just to try to make this geography work. In addition, there's so much more competition in Houston.
Of course.
It's just, we always call it a knife fight. And that's unfortunately what it is. You have every single national builder there and so many very large regional builders as well who run great businesses and build great homes. So it's just extremely, extremely competitive. I would say the difference in Greenville is that one of the most refreshing pieces of it is that the geography is just much smaller.
Yep.
So that's just a lot easier in terms of running a business because you have typically one centralized trade base. You have a location of an office that most people can get to. You have salespeople that can sort of move pretty consistently around the market without a lot of trouble. And what's really interesting about, so I think that's, you know, that's one part of it. And there's just less competition here in general. You do have a lot of you have all of the top 5 home builders here, national home builders, not necessarily all of the top 10. And you do have some stronger regional builders as well. It is getting more competitive.
Yep.
But overall, what's interesting is that we actually, like when we're opening a new community, we actually like it whenever there are other builders around us because it helps to generate buzz and traffic for that submarket, let's just call it. And yes, we compete, but we've sort of figured out in Greenville how everyone sort of has their niche and has their place to play. And so right now it's a really great time, I think, to be a home builder in Greenville because it's competitive, but it isn't the feeling that I've had in the Houston market or definitely in the DC market where you just have, you know, you could have competing in one community, you could have 20 builders, right, that are all vying for essentially the same number of individuals that are interested in purchasing.
Let's get real for a second. Are you dumping money into marketing but barely seeing any results? Go Digital can help. Using their marketing matrix, they zero in on your target audience and engage them where it matters the most. Go Digital acts as your full-service marketing team, saving you the hassle and cost of building an entire in-house team or trusting random gurus you found on the internet. It is also important to note that they don't just serve home service businesses, they own one. They've been in your shoes, they know what works because they've lived it. Wondering why I know so much about them? It's because I've been a client for them over a year, and I couldn't be happier with the results. So if you're ready to start winning more leads for less, hit the link in the show notes and schedule a free 20-minute consultation today. No, we didn't talk about Washington, D.C. because that's a
whole different episode of this podcast.
Yeah.
Let's put it that way.
We're going to talk about D.C. just in one episode.
Okay.
With politicians,
Oh, yeah.
get legislators on,
Okay.
and then we'll do a deep dive into what's wrong with D.C. right now.
Okay. Understood.
And I'm allowed to say that.
Okay. All right. Well, fair.
Yeah. So, kind of still playing on that part about Greenville
Yeah.
and it being such a connective market. And
It's awesome. So I have never worked in a market where it is as close-knit as Greenville. So you come here, you move to the market, you join the HBA, and honestly, within 60 days, you pretty much know everyone in the home building arena, which is awesome. I've never had that. And so what I think is really amazing about that, besides just making a ton of personal connections, is that it's very actionable because all of us can literally get in a room, like sit in this room and start to figure stuff out together. And I've just never been in a market where you could do that because it's so large. There's so many people. And so it's been really, really cool in Greenville to kind of, well, number one, be welcomed into a network like that, but also just be able to sit with, my same counterparts or, people of kind of similar roles and, with similar challenges and start to figure some of this stuff out together.
yeah, I think that's one of the, not to kind of toot the HBA's horn, but I think that's kind of one of the big benefits that the association offers is the fact that we do have, for example, on our board, you've got 3 division presidents of production builders.
Yeah.
You've got 6 owners of some very luxury custom builders,
Yep.
and you've got some trade suppliers. So it's a very connected group.
Yes.
And with us growing, 7 years ago, 242 members to today cracking 1,000
That's
members.
awesome. Yeah.
It's showing the benefit that the association offers. So I think I'm excited to hear a division president point out the benefit of
It's
HBAs
huge.
and what they can offer.
Yep,
Because I think
absolutely.
there's still that missing middle market of people not fully knowing what the HBA is, not understanding, thinking it's just builders when we
Yep.
know that it takes 114 trades to pull together one house.
Absolutely.
When you truly boil everything down, it's mind-boggling. From the appraiser to the developer to
gosh.
site prep to electricians to the realtors at the end of the process.
It takes a village. It really, really does
It
take
does.
a village to buy land, develop the land, build a house, sell the home, close up. It just takes a village. It takes, everyone that's in the HBA and those beyond it to make it happen.
Yep. So kind of playing off of that village and pulling a house together,
Yeah.
Meritage runs a little different model with not to-be-builts.
Correct.
Kind of talk to me about the approach from Meritage and what the benefits are from a consumer standpoint.
So Meritage has made a strategic shift recently to move out of the to-be-built market and in all of our 21 divisions across the country to go to a 100% spec strategy. Okay. And beyond the 100% spec strategy, we are, having been led by Greenville, which is a really interesting story in itself, moving to a model where we will not release the home for sale until it can be ready to close within 60 days. And there's really 2 reasons for that. The first reason for that is so that we can offer time frame certainty to our buyers. So for anyone that's built a to-be-built new construction home, there is always this uncertainty around when you're going to move in.
Yep.
And it's very hard for people to plan their life around that, whether you're breaking a lease or selling a home or moving out of your parents' home, or there's all these variety of issues that are all pinpointed on this closing date, which I was in that market for a long time at NVR, and it just ebbs and flows for a variety of reasons. And so Meritage has said, you know what, we're going to let those builders that do that do it really, really well their way, but we're going to play a different game. And so every single home that we sell in Greenville and beyond, it is ready to close within 60 days. So time frame certainty is number one, but also it allows us to give interest rate certainty. And in a time period of rising interest rates where we've been for the past few years, it allows us to lock people in. It allows them to know exactly what their payment is, which is really, really important as people are weighing the pros and cons and cost benefits to making a new home purchase. And so we're pivoting, or we have pivoted, I should say, to that strategy. In addition to that, what it really allows us to do is be a really good alternative to the resale market. And so, we will still, obviously it's a newly constructed home, and we're still going to compete with the same builder competitive set that we always have. However, now this allows us to maybe attract some buyers that say, hey, you know what, I would consider a resale, or I am considering a resale because I don't have time to build. But hey, it would be great if I could get a brand new home in the same time frame and the same rates and all the things that I can with a resale. And so we've made that pivot. Greenville sort of led the charge in that, and the market has really responded well to that model, and we're really excited to see where it takes us from here.
I think from a consumer standpoint, the consumer truly wins. Like
they win.
Y'all win at the end
Yes.
of the day because you're providing home ownership and the American dream for a family.
Yes.
I mean, in our market, you got 2.2 people per house, and we're growing. There's estimated by 2040, I think it's 13.8 million people moving to the East Coast, the Southeast, I should say.
Wow.
So, I mean, there's so much going on.
Yeah.
But I think the big win is on the consumer side.
It's huge.
The realtor has a product to show.
Correct.
You're able to lock them in. You're able to probably offer a little better incentive program.
Yeah.
On
because our
the
costs are
buyers.
known at that point. Everything's locked in. It's known. We know what we paid for the lot. We know how much it's going to cost us to build the home. So we can be as aggressive as possible on the incentives because there's no risk in it. We know what it is at that point.
Yeah. So the consumer is truly winning. And y'all do in-house financing?
Yes. So we have a sister company called MTH Mortgage. Super easy, seamless process. You don't have to utilize them. If we give closing cost assistance on homes, which we do on the vast majority of them, those are linked to using our lender MTH. But even outside of that, I mean, it's just such an easy process. They obviously understand how we do business. We understand how they do business. And again, it's just going into, in your words, the fact that the consumer wins because we're taking most of the variability out of this. Like if we say the home is going to close on this day and we know that MTH Mortgage looks at your financial situation and says you're good, we're good. Like there's very, very little wiggle room outside of, those two variables.
Yeah. So kind of we pulled in the consumer side, they're winning. Realtors. Let's talk about realtors. I know you've got this incredible new program that's, I believe, is in beta testing kind of in the Greenville market.
You're exactly right.
Which is super exciting because Greenville's leading the charge on the East Coast.
Yes,
I mean,
absolutely.
We're Greenville.
We are. We are. The realtor piece is very interesting. It's something I'm super passionate about. So as we've made this pivot to essentially, selling late stage specs that can close within 60 days and really looking to better align with the resale market, there has been a big shift internally to really embrace realtors, right? Because that is our way into the resale market. They literally hold the keys to the resale market. And so as long as I've been in this business, 21 years, there's always been this push and pull between builders and realtors, right? Because it's very expensive for a builder to not only pay their own internal sales team, but then pay an outside agent for the referral of that client. So there's just always been this rub. However, Meritage has said, nope. We are going to put our stake in the ground that we want to create long-lasting partnerships with agents. And our goal, and it is a very transparent goal internally and externally, now I've been talking about it for months in this market, is that we want to have 100% realtor representation. So we want every single buyer that buys a Meritage home to be represented by an agent. And there's multiple reasons for that. One of them is, as you said, the customer wins. We have found so time and time again, it's just very helpful to have an impartial voice in this transaction.
Yep.
And a lot of our home buyers, certainly not all, but a lot of them are first-time home buyers. And it's a very overwhelming time in your life when you're looking to purchase your first home. And so we've just seen such immense value that the realtor community can bring into the transaction. and be, a voice of reason if something, goes awry. And so we are actively every day, every week, trying to grow our realtor base, grow our realtor relationships. And so one of the things that we've done in Greenville, so I had been hearing about this behind the scenes at Meritage, and I'm like, well, this is wonderful, but like, how do we go and do this? Like, what do I tell my team that we're going to do? And so we created this pilot program that you had talked about. It's a loyalty program based on realtor engagement with Meritage. And basically what it is, it's pretty simple. We took it's a points-based program. So points-based loyalty programs are in every single other category in this world.
Yep.
Whether you're buying coffee or whether you're airline miles, credit cards, all these things use loyalty points. And one day I'm like, well, wait a minute. Why don't we do this in real estate, right? And so essentially agents earn points for engaging with us. So whether they show one of our specs. So they, use the lockbox and show one of our specs, whether they meet with one of our sales counselors for coffee or lunch, whether they have an appointment where they're present with their client on site, whether they call one of our sales counselors and say, hey, heads up, I'm working with Mr. and Mrs. Smith, and we register them in Salesforce. The more that they engage with us, the more that they earn points. And then those points translate into, again, just like every other loyalty program, a couple of different tiers where they can cash in those points for bonuses, and they earn different sort of tiers of benefits. The biggest benefit besides bonuses, because let's be honest, everyone loves them.
Of course. Who doesn't like
Who
a
doesn't
little
like a
more
good
money
bonus?
in your check?
Exactly. But one of the biggest benefits that we've seen is that in the highest tier, and this means that you've engaged with Meritage a lot. So you've done a lot of things with us. It doesn't necessarily mean that you have had to sell a bunch of houses. It's not based on sales. It's based on coming closer to me and my Meritage team. So the biggest benefit is at the highest levels, you are placed on the engaged agent list. And what that is, that's the list by which we give out referrals. So let's just say, Taylor, you come in and you do not have an agent representing you, and I work for Meritage, and you want to buy a home. We would have a conversation throughout this where I would say, Taylor, that's great. You want to buy a home, I want to sell you a home. However, it obviously costs you absolutely nothing. We would highly recommend that you work with an outside agent to do this transaction. You can pick whomever you would like, whomever you feel comfortable with. However, we have this group on our engaged agent list. It might be 4 people, 5 people, 6 people that we feel really, really comfortable recommending that they would do a great job representing you in this transaction. You don't have to use them, but they have walked the walk with Meritage.
Yep.
And they feel really comfortable with our processes and really comfortable with how we do things. And we think that, you might want to explore the agents on that list and see if you make a good connection.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
So now Meritage has truly wrapped it up to a win for the consumer, a win for the realtor.
Yeah.
And then my final question
Yeah.
is, let's talk about winning for employees.
Yes.
So kind of pivoting into that, you've got so much momentum with spec homes, the realtor program. You're slinging houses like crazy right now.
Trying
I mean, you got a bunch of years of land opportunity.
Yes.
You've got how many active specs do you have right now?
It's a great, about 200.
So you got a lot of houses that are ready to be sold.
Yep.
So we're going to pivot a little bit into how do the employees at Meritage win under the new role of division president, kind of creating culture. You're creating it externally. How do you do it internally? Builders, trades, realtors. If you're looking for a flooring partner you can trust, look no further. I'm here to tell you about All About Flooring. All About Flooring is a family-owned business with 3 generations of owners that know the flooring business inside and out. They work in residential and commercial projects for both new builds and remodels by providing high-quality customer service and installation for carpet, area rugs, hardwoods, laminate, luxury vinyl, and more. Y'all, they even provide professional carpet, tile, and upholstery cleaning. At All About Flooring, they're more than just a flooring provider. They're your partner in delivering top-tier results that your customers will absolutely love. You can find their website linked in the show notes or visit their 9,000 square foot showroom at 2111 North Pleasantburg Drive. Now, let's get back to the show.
Yep, that's a really, really great question. And it's something that I'm super focused on every day, because without the, 80 some people that work with me every day, we don't have Meritage Homes in Greenville, right? So it doesn't exist. So I think number one, we're doing all of these strategic shifts and all of these things to, one, better serve our customer and be able to win more customers in the market. And that looks like growth for our Greenville division, and growth for our employees. So I would say that's kind of the number one piece, in that growth creates opportunity for everyone, right? So opportunity for them to move forward, new roles are created. We need, more people to step into leadership roles. It creates opportunity in income levels, job security, all of that. I would say that's the baseline. So if we do a really good job executing these things, my team feels good about their current situation as well as their future. But then in addition to that, what's been really, really fun is that Greenville, and I would say Meritage in general, one of the reasons I really was excited to join Meritage is that overall, it's a very large builder. We do about 15,000 homes a year. We are top 5 builder we're the number 5 builder in the United States. But it has a very entrepreneurial spirit internally. And I personally love that, because the idea is that, hey, here's the goals and here's where we want to get to, but they really put it in the hands of the employees and the divisions to figure out how we get there. And so I bring that up to say what's really cool on the division level is that all of our employees are tasked with helping us figure out how we do this. Like this strategy, these shifts and the loyalty program and all the things that we're piloting and trying out, they're not created in some vacuum, right? Yep. We all sit in meetings together and go, okay, what are we trying to achieve? What is the best way to get there? What do you think? What do you think? What do you think? And then we cobble together, we try some stuff. A lot of things work, some stuff doesn't, and then you just keep picking up the ball and moving forward. And so it's created a spirit of sort of, number one, we're all in this together.
Yep.
And number two, let's figure this thing out together, which I think, I can tell you for me personally, and I think for a lot of people on my team, is way more important than any sort of money or any sort of future growth, because it's exciting, right? And it's fun. And I think one of the things that we've been really purposeful with the team is about instilling a culture of failing is okay. We just need to fail fast and move on.
Yep.
Right? So if we have a great idea, let's try, right? Let's give it a shot. Let's see what happens. If it's bad, okay. Maybe this isn't what we wanted, but let's just pick up that ball and continue to move forward. And so it's really created a wonderful culture of sort of excitement and inspiration and a feeling where people can share their ideas. And so we're really in a good place, I would say, within the division currently.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
So it comes down to, you are Meritage Homes division president, but the biggest hype woman for your team. You're a hype woman for the team, for realtors, for consumers.
Yeah.
So from that standpoint, looking at it, you've created a culture, you've created a new opportunity to focus on realtors, you've created opportunity for American homeownership. What's next? What does 2025 look like?
Yeah, so 2025 is a very big year for us. We have a very large milestone that we need to achieve here in Greenville, and that is closing at least 1,000 units. And the reason why that is so remarkable is, number one, that's just a really big division. Been in home building for a long time, seen a lot of different divisions. 1,000 units is a very, very large division. So we will be between 850 and 900 this year, but the bogey is that 1,000. And the reason why that is so important to my team is because it sort of means that we've made it in terms of the size of the division. And what's crazy about that is to do it in such a small market. Everywhere that I've ever seen 1,000-unit divisions, you're in a Houston, you're in a DC, you're in a Phoenix, Arizona, you are in a Dallas, Fort Worth. You are in big markets doing, 4-digit units.
Yeah.
And so it is absolutely mind-boggling to have it come out of a geography like Greenville, only because it's so small. So we are a big market share leader. We're number 3 market share in the Greenville market. And then as we move to 1,000 units, we'll be one of the biggest divisions in Meritage out of 21. And so that's what's next for us next year. And so we are pushing to achieve that goal because the team is just really excited about it.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, it's fun.
1,000 homes. I'm excited to see you hit that mark.
Thank you.
So one final thing.
Yeah.
I got an idea.
Okay, give me your idea.
Since we're welcoming ideas.
Yes, let's do it.
We need to add the boozy bus that the Homeowners
Yes!
Association puts on into the rebate program.
Oh my gosh! Yeah, the boozy bus is the best.
It truly is.
It is the best. You could win a spot on the boozy bus.
Yeah.
I like that.
I mean, I'm here for it.
I like it.
Supporting
I like
each other.
it.
We're
I like
here to
it.
go.
It's a great idea.
So
that one will not fail.
Yeah.
Right? We
It
don't
won't.
even need to
It
fail
can't.
fast on that.
It can't.
It cannot.
I mean, for those of y'all who don't know, Boozy Bus is we put 35 to 40 general brokerage realtors
So
on a
good.
bus, take them out to 5 different communities. Meritage has been incredible to put a home in almost each one so far. I hate that we didn't get you in on this one.
I know.
But one cool thing is we got 5 brand new builders on this one.
That's awesome.
So
That's
this
great.
one in November is 5 builders that have not really participated in the HBA, but they're seeing value in it.
That's wonderful. That's what you
So
want.
I'm super excited about that.
Yeah.
But from a consumer standpoint, from a realtor standpoint, the name of the app is?
Oh, it is the Greenville AR Loyalty. You can look it up in your, it's in the app store, and AR stands for Agents Rock. That is our umbrella program over for our realtor engagement throughout all of Meritage. So it's the Greenville AR Agents Rock Loyalty Program, and you can just look it up in your app store.
Perfect. And then for consumers, where can they go to find more information out about
Just
Meritage?
on our website, just on meritagehomes.com, and then you can navigate to Greenville.
Perfect. Well, Kerri, thank you for your time today.
Thank you for having me.
We
This is so
greatly
fun.
appreciate it. It's awesome. Be sure to check out the next episode of the Think Big podcast. We can't wait to see you there.